I've been a life insurance agent for 6 years now, and I've spent actually, I think it's just a little bit over $61,000 on paid ads for my business, and I've generated like 13,000 leads. And what I'm about to share with you comes from studying Dan Kennedy's No BS price strategy. And I remember when I first read about this, I was like, oh my God, like, how did I not see this before? And so today I'm going to walk you through exactly what I learned and how you can apply it starting today. And I promise you that this is going to change the way you think about your entire business pretty much. So here's the thing, and once again, this is from Dan Kennedy. He talks about this concept that price equals profit, profit equals power, right? And what this means is that your profit is literally the thermostat of your business. It controls everything. And most agents don't realize this because they think that pricing is just like this thing, that you have to do, and you find out because of your quotes and the insurance carrier, and you try to match it or like lower it a little bit. But that's completely backwards, because your profit doesn't just fund your business. Your profit actually determines how strong you are, how much you can invest in marketing, how much you can invest in your team, how much you can invest in becoming better at what you do. And when you price yourself low because you're probably afraid, because you think that's what the market wants, you're not just leaving money on the table, you're literally weakening your entire business. And think about it, right? Like, if your profit is low, what happens? You can't afford the best ads, you can't afford to test new markets, you can't afford to hire the best people. You're just kind of like stuck in this cycle of grinding it out and never really getting ahead, right? And the reason most agents do this, the reason they underprice, it's not just because like the market won't pay more. It's because they're afraid. And I've been there. I remember when I first started out, I was terrified to charge what I'm charging now, because I thought there's no way people will pay that. And I was competing on price. I was trying to get leads cheaper than everyone else. I was trying to offer better rates than the guy down the street. And you know what happened? I had so many leads, I couldn't even handle them. But most of them were shopping around, comparing me to the guy down the street that also sells life insurance, comparing me to their cousin that also sells life insurance. And it was miserable, because no matter what I did, like, I was always competing on price, and it never ended, right? It's like this endless race to the bottom, and fear based pricing decisions, they destroy your business, like, literally. Because when you price based on fear instead of value, you attract the wrong clients, you attract price shoppers, the people who are maybe just looking for the cheapest thing. And those are like the worst clients, because they'll leave you the second someone offers them a penny less. They complain constantly, they don't trust you, and your business becomes this like stressful, exhausting thing instead of something that you actually enjoy, right? And Dan Kennedy talks about this idea, and Alex Ramosi talks about this too. And it's something that I never forgot, because it hit me so hard. And it's this story about two entrepreneurs, right? And they thought their maximum price point was like $2,000. They were like convinced that's what the market would bear. And you know what? Like, Hormozy tested this, and he found that people would actually pay $10,000. And think about that gap for a second, right? Like, those $8,000 per customer, and if they were just getting like 50 customers a year at their like with their old thinking, that's $400,000 they were leaving on the table every single year. And most agents have no idea they're doing this. They're like, oh, I think commission is, and the premium should be this, and the commission should be this, and then they just charge that. Like, they never test, they never push back against their own limiting beliefs. And the worst part is that they think they're being realistic when they're kind of like just being afraid. And I was the same way until I had my own awakening about this, right? So here's a common mistake I see agents make over and over and over again. And it's this idea that they need to compete on price. Like, they need to beat the other guy's premium, or offer like better rates, or better, and like all these different things. And it's so backwards, because you're not competing like in a commodity market unless you make yourself one, right? Like, when you position yourself as just another life insurance agent offering policies, well then, yeah, you're a commodity, and people will shop around. and compare you, and you'll be stuck in this price war. But when you create something unique, when you specialize, when you position yourself as the expert in a specific market or a specific problem, suddenly price doesn't matter anymore. And I mean that literally. Like, I have clients, they would never even think about shopping around, because what I'm offering is so specific to them that comparing me to their cousin selling life insurance makes no sense, right? It's like trying to compare a cardiologist to a general practitioner. They're not the same thing. And when you're specialized, you're not a commodity anymore. So you can charge premium prices because the value is actually there. It's real. It's specific to that market, and that's the mentality shift that you need to make. And that's what Dan Kennedy is really talking about when he says price equals profit, profit equals power. Now, let me tell you what happened to me, because this is where everything kind of changed for me. And I was reading this book. I think it was Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. And it talks about this idea that people don't want something better or faster. They want something new. They want something they can't find anywhere else, right? And I was like, oh my God, like that's it. Because what I realized is I was in this general market just selling life insurance to everyone, and I was getting leads, but most of them were just shopping. They're applying. They're getting approved, and then coming back to me saying, hey, my cousin can sell me this too, let me check with him. And it was kidding me, because I had done all this work, I had spent all this time, and then at the last second they're telling me they want to compare. And I remember thinking, like, I need to create something so unique, so specific to a certain market, that they literally cannot compare it to their cousin. And so what I did is I spent, I think it was like 5 months from like February to like July, something like that, meeting with a very specific type of client. And I had this yellow pattern, right? And every single meeting, I would write down their problems, their fears, their goals, like everything that they were struggling with. And I'm talking about like the same problems over and over and over again. Because once you get inside a market, you realize everyone in that market has very similar struggles, right? And so I wrote all this stuff down, and then I created this unique offer, something completely different, something that wasn't just about the insurance policy. It was about solving their specific problems, and it was unlike anything else in the market, right? And then I met with this couple in August. I think it was August, and they said the same thing. They're like, hey, we want to check with my family friend. I think it was like a cousin or something. He sells life insurance. And honestly, I was nervous. I was like, here we go again. But 2 weeks later, they came back and they told me something that changed, once again, everything for me, right? Because they said, yeah, we talked to our family friend, but he's just selling us insurance. He's not doing all these other things that you're doing for us. So we're just going to go with you. And the moment they said that, I was like, wow, because I wasn't a commodity anymore. I wasn't competing on price or rates or any of that stuff. I was providing something so specific and so valuable to their situation that comparing me to anyone else just didn't make sense. And not only did I get the sale, but I actually felt like I was helping them, like I was actually serving them. And that's the thing that really hit me, right? Because when you're competing on price, you're miserable. But when you're serving a specific market with a very specific solution, you actually enjoy it. And your clients feel that. And they feel that you actually care, that you understand their situation, that you're solving their their problems. And that's when you can charge premium prices, because the value is actually there. So if you're in a situation like I was, or like most agents are, here's what you need to do, right? And this is the actionable stuff that you can actually apply today. First of all, stop thinking that you need to compete on price, okay? Because it's never gonna work. Second, you need to create a unique offer for a very specific market. And I mean, like, really get to know that market. Study them like I did with my yellow pattern. Write everything down, like their problems, their fears, what they're stressed about. And third, you need to test higher prices to actually test them. Like, don't just assume that you know what the market will pay, because I bet you that the market will pay way more than you think. And last but not least, Stop thinking about like commission percentage. Like think about the value that you're providing that their cousin isn't providing. What's the unique solution? What's the transformation you're creating for them? And when you can answer that question in the best possible way, you're not just selling life insurance anymore. You're selling the solution to a very specific problem that you understand better than anyone else in your market. And here's the last thing I want to say. And this is like very important because when you do this, you create something unique and you specialize and you position yourself as a real expert in a specific market. Your whole business changes. And I mean everything changes. Your income changes because you're not grinding for like low commissions, low premiums anymore. Your stress level changes because you're not competing on price. You're actually serving people instead of just selling them. And your growth changes because once you've cracked one market, you can expand to another market and do this like same exact thing, right? And that's when you go from being an agent to being a real business owner. And that's when you can actually build something that scales. It's not complicated. It's just work, right? And it's the kind of work that pays off. And when you put in that work for a couple of weeks, you can literally change the trajectory of your entire business and your income for the rest of your career.